Yeah, we're on,
Oh,
dude.
you've got a photograph of me.
Do I? Oh yeah, I put it
Yeah,
up
you
on
just
Facebook.
That's from Copenhagen. Oh, there's a whole bunch of things I haven't added to my timeline.
Wait, I gotta. Oh, now the thing is like.
Oh, that's the worst when that happens, because now you don't know what point in time you are anymore. You're like, what's going on?
I'm gonna put us. Let's see. I'm gonna. Here we go.
Oh no, that was Swimp. That's a photo from Swimp. Where did you get that photo? Did you just Google search me to get that photo?
I looked on your Facebook page.
All right, I don't know where this is on my Facebook page.
Wait, you don't know where it is?
No, I don't. I don't know.
I didn't do a lot of work to get it. I'll tell you that much.
All right. Well, I don't have that many photos of me on Facebook. I have, I suppose I have this one. A very long time ago, I had one of me doing a skin sun damage treatment. So it's like to prevent you getting cancer, you had to rub this cream on your face for a month. And it was the worst thing I've ever done in my life. And I was feeling incredibly sorry for myself. And I posted on Facebook because what it does is, this isn't such a great story, but
no, this
the
is
cream. The cream, it's called Feud. And because I live in Australia and I'm incredibly white, I have a problem with the sun. The cream, you put it on twice a day for up to a month, if you can stand it, and it reacts with any cells that are sun damaged and precancerous, and it basically kills them. So you, after a few days, things start going red, and then after a few more days, things start dying, and basically your whole face turns into a giant sore wherever there's sun damage. And I don't know if it's just the pain, but it gives a certain depressive, like it's a very depressing thing to, I don't know, it's a strange intangible thing that happened where it's like, I just don't want to do this anymore. This is not fun.
So far, I'm in. I'll try it.
Oh, look, it made me look about 5 years younger because it kills off all the skin cells which are like dry and old looking. So it was great in that regards. But I did it for 3 weeks. You meant to do it for 4 weeks. I did it for 3 weeks and I couldn't do it anymore. I gave up, and the dermatologist said, "That's fine. You've done a good job." But he just handed it to me. Like I went to see him about something else, about getting something cut out of my arm, actually, a little basal cell carcinoma. And he took one look at me and said, "You have to do this cream." And he didn't say anything. He's just like, "Put it on twice a day for the next month." I'm like, all right. And then like sadness descends.
Oh my God, really?
Oh yeah, it's horrific. If you, as long as you're not too sensitive, just look up like the word Feud story on Google, and you'll see photographs of people doing this treatment. And I didn't have it too bad. Like I probably had like half my face, but there's people in the north of Australia who do it, and their whole face and shoulder region is sun damaged. And this cream just kills off everything that's sun damaged. So it's like all this skin dies. It's horrific.
Oh my God, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, I was sorry to hear it. But now that I've done it, yay.
Yay. Great.
I want to do it. I want to do it to my hands because my hands look older than they should because of sun damage. So I'm thinking one day that I'll get the Feud for my hands. And then they'll look like the hands of a 4-year-old.
Which is what you've always wanted. I mean, ever since I've known you, you've talked about those hands of a 4-year-old.
Yeah, I mean, if they can't be my own, I'll get them some way.
What do you want to get for? I kind of like the idea of you had like some scenarios that we've been doing. Like, do you have any?
Okay, yeah. Well, I don't think we've tried this together. I've been trying the setting of purgatory.
Oh, cool.
Does that word mean anything to you?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, perfect. Yeah, that's it really. We're in purgatory, and whatever that means is whatever that means.
And then
do you want to do that?
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, stop. Do you want to turn off the
No, no.
camera and then turn it on?
Oh yeah, yeah, sure. This is the part the audience likes, the discussion of mechanics.
I mean, this is the forum, dude. It's us talking, never doing it. It's us talking about it.
Yeah, yeah. Obscure improv theory that no one cares about. That's the name of my class. Obscure improv theory no one cares about 101.
Well, how many? There's like 9 levels, right?
There's infinite levels. Infinity O1. All
Yes.
right, yeah.
All right.
I'll turn the camera off. Welcome.
Hi.
Welcome. You made it. You've lived a good life, and now you've made it. Nice to see you. I'm your case officer.
Oh, great. So I live a good life, so I'm in heaven then. It's different.
Oh.
I didn't.
It's like we got someone with a little bit of ambition. In some sort of rush, are we? You know, always rushing about. Is that you? Is that you down to a T, or what's going on?
Yeah. I just want to explore all I can as fast as I can. So this is
Okay.
not what I expected, but still, it's. I mean, I guess it's not unexpected. It's just it's different than what I would thought it would be.
Yes, well, yeah, you're absolutely right. If you thought this was heaven, you're wrong. This is purgatory. So you're going to be here for a while, maybe forever, and we'll see how things go. So
Okay.
I've got a
Wow.
I've got a few questions for you just to get to know you and see what you need and make a sort of
Okay.
assessment. It's nothing too serious, you know. And this is a full 360 degree assessment, so feel free to ask questions, and you can give me feedback at the end. That's fine.
So I do have a question. There are measurements then, right? Like you said 360 and then forever. So for some reason I thought, oh, like any measurements would be gone, but I mean, it's somewhat
You mean
comforting to know that
the dimensions of time and space would somehow
yeah,
disappear? I mean, we're still subject to the law of physics here, if that's what you mean.
yeah, that's exactly what I mean. So,
No,
no,
Einstein was right. I can tell you that, first of all.
no kidding.
No kidding. No kidding. Einstein was right. That guy is smart, super smart.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, would you say he's, of all the people, I mean, I don't know if maybe he went right to heaven. I don't know if you've encountered him. Is,
No, he was super smart, but quite evil, turns out.
oh,
Had a lot of secrets, that guy. So I'm afraid it was downstairs for him.
oh, wow. Wow. It's strange because he did so much good, but I guess you don't know the bad he did too, right?
Well, it's not it's I mean, you're imagining sort of eternal justice as some sort of scale where
Yeah.
how does good balance versus evil. That's not really how it works. I mean, from the outside, that's how it appears to work, but from the inside, it's much more nuanced. I have a whole book of regulations and guidelines to determine whether or not you're worthy to get into heaven or whether you should be sent to hell. So that's this interview is the first step of that 17-step process.
Wow. And so I'm assuming that each step is going to be a different like length and time commitment. And there might be steps that are
Well,
like multiple.
I know you're in a rush.
I
I
just,
know you're in a rush. So there's no
I just
need.
want
Don't get
to,
ahead of yourself. Look, the worst thing you can do is be thinking about step 2, 3, 4, and 5 when you're on step 1. Okay, that is going to count against you. Okay, you got to focus. You got to get your head in the game,
yes.
and just focus on what's in front of you right now.
It's so interesting because I've always been focused on like the end goal, but I'll try my best, focus right on the here and now. And well, what's your name? I think you might have said it, but I wasn't paying attention.
Daryl,
Daryl. Okay, is that with an A or an E?
it's with an A and a Y. Is that what you mean?
Well, it might
D
be
A
like
D A. How about I just spell the whole thing and clear this up right away?
I'm fine with that.
Daryl.
Okay, got it. I grew up next to a guy. It's Derryl.
Derryl. Daryl.
Daryl. That's why I was asking, but that was very unique.
I don't know him. If that's you, I don't know him. I haven't met any Daryls.
So you're the only Daryl that you've come across.
No, I've come across plenty of Daryls with an A and a Y. The
Okay.
spelling of Daryl, Derryl, is quite frankly ridiculous, and I've never met anyone with that name.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to argue with you on that. I completely agree. I hadn't met another Daryl outside of him who spelled it with an E. I've met it people who spelled it Daryll.
No, that's just as bad as the other one.
Yeah, let me ask you this, Sean. What do you think is the best way?
Did you say Sean?
Sean, what would you say is the way that the most popular way to spell Sean?
Oh, I thought you were calling me Sean after I just told you my name.
No, no, I know you're Daryl, but Sean, the name
Sean. What is the
Sean.
most popular way? I think there's only one way. Sean.
Ooh, there's an Shawn and also
Oh yeah, I did forget.
Shadon.
You're right. You're right. I did forget about that. I would say the most popular is Sean, followed by Shaun, and a very
Uh-huh.
distant third Shawn. Very distant.
Huh. Yeah, I guess so. I mean, yeah, I guess I would agree with you on that. If we were in a game show and we were a partner team and then we had to guess, I would say I agree with that. Oh, is that
What was that?
oh,
What was that game show? What was the name of that game show where they had to do that, where the couples had to guess?
well, I mean there are a lot of game shows based on like two people. There's Man on the Street where
Never heard of it.
they would freeze right before somebody gave an answer and then they would huddle up. There's Family Feud where at the do you know Family Feud? Have you played
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No Family Feud. We get that up here.
Yeah, so then it's like, the when it's a chance to steal, they might huddle up and then they come out of the huddle and then they're like, "Hey, usually it's the dad who's the decision maker for some reason,
Mm-hmm.
pretty sexist." And it'd be like, "I think it's seven, I think it's a six, I'm thinking it's four," and then the dad would make the decision. So, I mean,
I think Family Feud's entertaining, but it is a very sharp example of the degradation of actual knowledge in the world. Because the questions are not about what do you know. The questions are about what do you think other
yes,
people know.
yes, yeah, I mean that's true. And I don't know if you heard this, but just before I passed, they put in the dictionary the word irregardless,
Come on,
which no, I'm not kidding. So
come
the
on.
knowledge
No,
has
they
been
didn't.
degraded. Yeah, yeah, they did. Yeah.
If I'm
Merriam-Webster.
gonna check, if I'm gonna check that, if I find out you're lying, that is not going to be good for you.
What? Okay. But then if you find out I'm telling the truth, can I skip ahead a couple? Can I go right from one to
No,
six?
no. Just understanding facts and repeating them is not, it's not a virtue.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Okay, we this justice, heavenly justice, is harsh but fair. Okay,
Fair.
so what would you say is the most important lesson you learned in life?
Whew. Uh, I'm going to talk this out. I'll give you my final answer.
That's fine. This interview can run for as long as it needs to. We don't want to put pressure on you.
I mean, one big lesson I've learned is to be kind and be kind to others. I think that was a huge lesson. I also
Mm-hmm,
think
mm-hmm,
that the greatest thing you can do and what it's about, is love. And so, I mean,
mm-hmm.
they're similar, but they're actually different. So, um, the
Mm-hmm.
golden, I mean, I feel like everyone says the golden rule, do unto others. So I'm not saying that, but I'm like, it's really hard to break that one.
It's a
Um,
good rule. Good rule.
it's a really good rule, and I spent the latter third of my life really focused on self improvement, and I opened myself up to all sorts of philosophies and religions, and kind of
Oh,
cherry
oh,
picked
go into
different
that.
things.
Unpack that. Unpack that. Unpack that. Philosophies,
Yeah.
religions. What one really spoke to you?
Well, I first I went back to Catholicism because that's what was familiar to me.
Oh,
I was raised in the
unusual.
Catholic
Unusual.
Church. Yeah, and I gave like when I was 14, I strayed from the Catholic Church, and I for a long time thought I was atheist. I was really agnostic, but I thought like I'm atheist. And then when I got into my late 30s, I said, well, I started seeing someone, and they went to the Catholic church. So then I thought we could spend time together. And so that was one way we could spend together, so if we went to church, because they never missed a mass on Sunday. And so, but I didn't like what they were doing in the church. I didn't like the cover up. I had a sense of, oh, I really enjoy the history and traditions. I like some of the songs are great. I like the fact that they do a lot of good, but it was outweighed by me from the evil. Again, like Einstein, right? It's like you
Oh
see the
yeah.
good, but there's a lot of evil. If the Catholic Church was coming, do you think the Catholic Church would be going downstairs if you ran across, if the Catholic Church came into purgatory?
Well, I'm interested to know what you would think. What do you think?
I think so, because I think the damage has outweighed any good that they've done. So I think
Oh, oh.
no.
No, personally, I mean, we're talking completely theoretically. The Catholic Church will never stand before me in judgment. But theoretically, no, I think they'd still get into heaven. I think that 2,000 years of, well, whatever it is, thousands of years of history
I think longer
is
than
on
2000.
balance good.
Yeah. So I
But
went through a
it's not really about that. I've got this large book of regulations and guidelines about what it would be very difficult to apply this to a religious organization. But I'd give it a go.
I mean, I see the book. You're first off, you're the biggest being I've ever seen in my life, and the book in your hand looks big. So if it seems like it's an enormous a book that you're just able to hold up right there, but it is an enormous book.
Oh, it is. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
I think. Well, then I'm going to stop you there because I don't want to
okay.
lose some of the notes I've made. If you start talking about another thing, I don't want to lose anything from this conversation. So, I mean, it's not a problem that you left the Catholic Church. Membership of a church is not what we're about. You know. So that's fine if you came and went. It's good that you kept exploring. That's important.
I spent a summer really into Taoism, and I thought that Taoism would be like I felt really comfortable with it, but then it was a phase in my life where I just couldn't commit to anything at that point, so I kind of went in and out of that. But I felt like that
If
was that really
I got to say, if I was bound by the constraints of human consciousness, I would be a Taoist.
really.
Oh, speaks to me as an eternal being that exists in all places at all
Yeah.
times, or at least has access to that kind of existence. Taoism really speaks to me.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny. I can't even tell you why I stopped.
Well, you're
Can I
human.
ask you a question real quick? Can I ask you a
Oh
question?
yeah, sure.
I What you just had, is that what I would think of as a beverage? Is it a liquid, or is it something? Yeah, is that like I imagine, and this is probably not true. I imagine you having tea, but I don't.
Yeah,
I can't. Is it?
it's English breakfast.
Wow. Okay. It's strange because my first thought is, oh, he's probably drinking like in the cup is like colors or something, like not an actual liquid.
Oh
But
no, no, no! It's tea. I wish I smoked because the number of people who die and come up here with a packet of cigarettes on them is, vast. There's many people who die with packets of cigarettes, and they bring them up, and I can bum a cigarette. I don't smoke. I only drink tea. Specifically, I like English breakfast, and it is a long time between drinks to get someone who has died and brought a packet of English breakfast, English tea with it.
oh wow, so that you have to get it from them.
Oh yeah, I'm just opportunistic. You haven't got any English breakfast tea on you, have you?
Well, yeah, I do.
Oh really?
I drink Earl. I would drink a mix of Earl Grey and English breakfast every morning.
What do you mean a mix? You mean you put a bag of each into the hot water?
Yeah, yeah.
Really?
I had a tea machine. If you really want to know, I had a tea machine and I used
I've
loose
never
liquid
even heard of
tea
a
where
tea machine.
what are you? You're joking, right?
What is a tea machine? I don't look. There's a lot. The only thing I know about the human world, I learned from the people who come through here and talk to me, and no one has ever mentioned a tea machine before.
Okay, well, let me tell you what it is. So
All right,
I had a,
please.
I had a metal tea basket,
Uh-huh.
and I would scoop 2 scoops of Earl Grey, loose leaf tea, 1 scoop of English breakfast. Sometimes I switched it. Sometimes I did 2 scoops of English breakfast, one of Earl Grey. Either way, I would put the lid on, and then it was like it went into this a pot, a teapot, and think of like a glass coffee pot
Uh-huh.
or a glass coffee container, right? So it
Right.
would go into that. I would set it. And then I would set it for every morning. I'd get up usually 7 in the morning. I would set the tea, and it would the tea canister would descend into the water. The water would heat up first, descend into the water, and after it was 5 minutes. The canister would go back up, and you would have tea. And it was the best tea you could ever imagine.
So it's an automatic dipping mechanism.
Yeah, yeah.
That sounds incredible. I've never heard of that.
I can't believe, I wonder if like people, it's so precious to them that they wouldn't share that information. But for me, it was my favorite appliance. Can I rank my favorite appliances? Tea machine,
Yes.
the tea machine, top best gift I ever got. Couldn't live without it. That would be my top one. The second appliance, refrigerator, right? I mean,
Yeah, it's good.
and a
It's good
refrigerator
appliance.
freezer, right? A refrigerator freezer with an ice maker,
You wouldn't
or
go. You see, can I disagree with you? Okay,
I mean,
based on what I hear about human experience, I would say the clothes washing machine is the greatest labor saving device ever.
well, I'm specifically talking just kitchen appliances.
Oh, okay, all right, all right.
And I've also lived without a washing machine, and it's not great, but I couldn't live without a refrigerator. Could you live without a refrigerator? Or and that's another thing, is that I couldn't live without a refrigerator,
I could live without a freezer.
but not a refrigerator.
No, I think you're right. I think I'd need a freezer. I have a refrigerator here for my milk. You haven't got any
Well,
fresh milk on you, have you?
oh,
Oh,
not.
I hate black tea. I hate it. I will not drink tea at all if I don't have milk. I'm not a savage.
Yeah, I have a splash of I really like low fat milk, or not like skim milk, non-fat milk. So I would have some skim milk, not whole.
This I've never understood. What's the point of skim or low fat milk? Because full fat milk is 3% fat. Like out
Okay.
of that whole container, is 3% of that is fat. Skim milk is 2% fat. So we're talking about like a tiny amount of fat difference.
But then what's 2% milk?
Well, I don't know.
We
I'm
have.
sorry. I get a lot of English people coming through, so
Oh yeah, no,
I'm
no, no.
not as familiar with the American terms. You
It's
died. You died in England, right?
yeah, I got it, but I'm
Yeah,
still
so
American.
that's my jurisdiction.
Okay. Well, back at home, it was whole milk, then 2%, then there's actually 1%, and
Yeah,
then
which is like
skim.
white water.
Yeah, and then so imagine like weaker than that. That's skim.
No, but
That,
here's what I'm getting at. Like the difference between full fat is creamy.
yep.
1% is like drinking white water. Okay, so full fat is delicious. 1% is horrible.
Yeah.
Why would I make that massive sacrifice in taste for the sake of 1 or 2% of extra fat in a bottle this big? That's what I'm getting at.
Well, I mean, you're not wrong, but the reason I did it is because you think you're drinking and eating healthier. That's the only reason. There's probably
Okay,
no proof to that, but you think,
okay.
well, if I
This
just
is
have, and you're right, you're having just, I mean, I don't, it's like a splash of
it's like a
milk, but
teaspoon. It's like a
the
teaspoon through a
teaspoon.
whole 2 liter bottle.
Yes, yes. So you think like, well, if I multiply that over the amount of tea I drink, then and it's like you're probably not, right?
Can
But
I tell
it's
you, this is this is one conversation where I do not think Einstein is smart, because he was trying to say the same thing to me that you're saying, that you think you're being healthier, and I just couldn't deal with it.
Wait, is that gonna kick me downstairs? That
No, no,
answer?
no, 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 no,
Okay.
not at all, not at all. No, rest assured, the assessment is going on, but it's not reliant on any one of your answers or any one of your arguments. This is a much broader assessment than that. Can I go back to, you gave me some explanation
Yeah.
about what you think, what was the most important lesson in life, and you said love.
Well, that's one of them. I'm
No,
not.
no,
I
no,
have
no, no, no,
more.
no.
Okay.
Sure, I'm sure there's others, but
Yeah.
okay. So the problem I have, and I always have this, as being a non-human and being an eternal being, that exists throughout the universe and throughout existence. Love to me is a very, very vague answer, very wishy-washy.
Mm,
So, I mean, I'm just wondering, could we dig a little deeper? What is love to you?
I mean, I think that's a question that's been plaguing mankind and throughout human existence. And
Okay, you sound, can I be honest? You sound like you're stalling when you're doing a book report. Okay, I get it. I understand it's a difficult topic. Okay,
it's
I
very
just want to hear
difficult.
it.
I am stalling. I'm not gonna
All
lie.
right,
I'm stalling.
all right, all right. As long as we know that's what's going on. All right, that's fine. Keep going.
You know what's funny is like I'm usually to the point, but in this instance, I'm stalling. I'm
Oh,
really,
maybe we're learning something about ourselves finally, are we? Are we? Is that what we're doing? Well, I see a goal and I target it and I go towards it, and yet love, not really sure.
I think, okay, here's my answer. Here's what I'm going to say. Love is something that is all encompassing. And when you feel that love, you feel like you can do anything. And when you can feel like you can do anything, I think it opens you up to doing anything. And it's a positive state of being that has done more to help advance civilization than anything else.
Wow. Can I be honest? I think that's one of the best answers I've ever heard.
Wow, really?
What I like is what I take from that is that love is gives you a feeling of security,
Yeah.
and that you, like you say, that you can do anything. Wow, to be in that state of mind where you can do anything. Wow. I wish I could. I never thought about it like that before, and it's always fear that holds me back.
Well, I mean, I guess whether you're human or eternal, whatever being you are, that's pretty consistent. And love is constantly at odds with fear.
Wow. Wow. All right. Good answer. Good answer. Okay. Next question. What was your job?
Oh, I was a business consultant. I mean, I had several
All right.
jobs, but
That's
the
okay.
job I
That's not good. That's fine.
well, that was one of my jobs. I've had several jobs. It's the one I
Okay.
had the
All
longest.
right. Well, let me just say, in the big book of regulations and guidelines, the words business consultant come up a number of times and never in a good context.
Yeah, it was bad.
Right. If you had said management consultant to me, I would have sent you down straight away.
Yeah, I guess, again, it was a fear-based decision to become a business consultant. So,
The income, you wanted the security.
yeah,
That's what all your friends were doing. Everyone else was doing it.
yeah. The status, I wanted to please my parents. I thought they would finally
Oh
accept
yes.
me for having a job that was legitimate. And,
Can I
my
can I can I say that I don't admit this to everyone, but I feel a certain bond of trust here. We get a little bit of pressure from upstairs along the same way. Do the right thing, make your parents proud. We get a little bit of that coming from upstairs, and it's never sat easy with me. Never sat well.
thank you.
Mm, mm.
Well, thank you. That's kind of you to say.
Okay. All right. Well, what's I'm gonna skip all the small talk. What would you say is the most spiritually rewarding job that you had?
Ooh, interesting. I get well. I mean, I was a most spiritually rewarding job. I when I was in when I went to university, I was a dorm assistant, and I
Uh-huh.
really liked that. I was somebody that people came and talked to and unloaded their problems and asked for my advice, and I really felt that that was it.
That sounds nice.
Yeah, it was
I'd like
nice.
that kind of job. Um, yeah,
You kind of
I
are
feel
doing that right now.
in a way, but
Yeah.
it can be more difficult. It's okay when you get someone who is, has a certain degree of self-confidence, but to anyone who has any sort of who defers to authority, suddenly I'm an authority figure and I'm judgmental, and it makes it very difficult for us to connect as human beings, far beyond being an eternal entity of light. It's. I mean, it's one thing to be scared of me because I am just pure energy.
Yeah.
It's another thing to be scared of me because, we think we're very different.
Well, I mean, it goes back to the fear, and it goes back to the fear of the unknown. And we don't know, like humans, I'll be honest with you. They have for years tried to figure out what happens in the afterlife. And so when it's something that's unknown, it's very terrifying.
I mean,
Unless,
I've seen the human interpretations of the afterlife. They're basically correct.
well,
There are a few
that's,
details here and there.
if they knew that, I think they would live life differently. They're still debating it. That's the what the situation is on Earth is they're still debating it, and some people are
That's
very convinced they're right.
I mean, I know this is going to probably be an annoying answer, but that's God's plan.
Why?
Look, we bring this up at every monthly review meeting, but we've been having those for the past 2,000 years at least. And I think the meeting's been going on longer, but the official record is 2,000 years. And every time we bring it up, we're like, God, does this really have to be your plan? And every time he vetoes the question. So I mean, he doesn't answer.
Oh, that's got to be frustrating for you.
Well, it's in the Constitution that he wrote that he can veto any question and stop any conversation right there. So until some sort of reform comes, we're stuck with it.
I mean, there's no chance it's going to be reformed now. It's been 2,000 years. I mean, I'm assuming that's when he wrote it. It's 2,000 years ago, but he might have been in place
But
without a constitution for a while. I
I
don't know.
think, well, the Constitution is much older. I think. I mean, the official record is 2,000 years, but I think the Constitution is eternal. So it's just one of those traditions that's difficult to shake off. People get used to it. Everyone does it that way just because that's the way it's always been done. So I mean, occasionally you get sort of murmurs of unhappiness and perhaps, but it never amounts to anything. I mean, you can't fight the institutions, you can't fight bureaucracy.
Interesting. The last murmur, tell me if this is true. On earth, the last murmur that came from on high was Lucifer, who then tried to take over heaven and now runs downstairs.
Yeah, I mean that story isn't quite. That's not quite how that went. I mean that's the official record,
Yeah.
but God and Lucifer are great mates. They,
Really?
I mean, they at first they thought they could destroy each other, but
Yeah.
they soon realized that they only really exist in opposition to each other. So, I mean, what would be hell with no heaven, and what would heaven be with no hell? I mean, what's the point? I mean, it's all about light and dark, right?
I mean, it's like Batman and Joker.
Thank you. Great movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great movie. Heath Ledger was amazing.
Rank your top Jokers.
Oh, well, Heath Ledger's at the top. I think I've seen all of them. Okay, I have been provided with Blu-rays, DVDs, and VHSs of all of these movies by people who have died. Heath Ledger's at the top. After that, I would say Mark Hamill, the Joker, the cartoon, the animated Joker.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, I love Jack Nicholson in Tim Burton's version of Batman.
Yeah.
After that, Cesar Romero.
Thank you from the TV show.
Yeah, well, yeah. And right down the bottom is that guy, the Suicide Squad guy.
The worst, Jared Leto.
Yeah, Jared Leto. Yeah. I mean, look, he brought a strong performance, but he was up against history.
Oh, it was terrible. No, I think it was terrible. And the stuff he did to his fellow actors was even worse. It was terrible.
Oh, yeah, don't worry. The old regulations will get him when he comes by. Don't you worry about that.
I was going to ask. He's got to go downstairs, man.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we don't get many clear-cut cases, but Jared Leto, he's done.
Thank you. I mean, just for his actions on that film.
Yeah. Well, look, we're not that petty, but it doesn't help. Help. I'll put it that way. I got to say, I think the assessment's basically done.
Wow.
You know, I know I'm pretty good at my job, so you probably didn't even notice.
No.
You're going up.
Daryl, thank you.
You're welcome. This has been very enlightening. This is your opportunity to give me some feedback. This will be recorded and passed on to upstairs, head office, as it were. So if you've got any feedback about me, I can't obviously put any pressure on you or put any expectation in your mind about what it would be. All I'll say is I've had a great time talking to you. It's been very interesting. Thank you.
You're welcome. And I think you've made this transition as painless and easy as possible. So thank you.
Oh, that's it.
I mean, you're easy to talk to, and you kind of did you did a good job at taking me through this process and expediting my route. So I think you are. I mean, I don't have anything to compare to.
Okay,
but
can I say I feel like you're stalling for time at the beginning of a book report. Okay.
Yeah, I
need
I think you're doing it right, but I don't have anything to compare it to.
I need like one line to put on my resume is what I'm looking for. Like what's the headline?
I got it. If you need someone who's fair and impartial to help you with a transition in or out of purgatory, I can not recommend Daryl any more highly than I think and that I do.
Okay. I mean,
you know what, Daryl? Use whatever you like. You could edit that as much as you want.
Oh, really? That's okay. If I edit that down, can I attribute that to you?
Yes. Please. However you want to take that, the sentiment. However you want to change it.
I will. I mean, I'll get the sentiment right, but the way you've expressed it makes me sound like a sort of used car salesman. So
I felt bad at the end. At the end, I was circling around something and I just didn't hit it quite like I wanted to. So take that sentiment and then put it in your words.
All right. Well, thank you. I appreciate that, and good luck with the rest of eternity. I might see you at one of the summer barbecues.
I look forward to it. Thanks, Daryl.
You're welcome.
This way?
Yeah, that way. Yeah. Sorry, is it not clear? There's two doors.
There's two doors.
One is beaming rainbow light, and the other is fire and the distinct smell of sulfur. Is it not clear which one you should go through?
I think my instinct is this, but then I'm like, maybe this is the last test.
It's not. There's no. You're moving on to the next one. You're moving on to the next test.
What? It smells like ice cream.
What a nice man.
Scene. Yay! Oh my God, that's so great, dude.
Yeah, that was fun.
Oh man, that was super fun. Thanks for playing. It's been too long.
Yeah. I don't know what to say, but yeah,
And you say it very well.
thank you. Thank you.
All right, let's do it again next week.
All right, I'm up for that.
All right, see you, buddy.
Farewell.